India felt surrounded. They felt trapped between two powerful enemies. They had lost a war to China in 1962 and were constantly fighting with their arch-rival Pakistan on the other border. They began a research program using a reactor that Canada had given them for peaceful energy. India claimed they were not building a bomb, but in 1974 they conducted a test in the desert. They called it a peaceful nuclear explosion. The code name was Smiling Buddha, and the world was not amused. Canada and the US imposed sanctions on India for misusing the technology. India paused for a while, but officially weaponized their program in the 1990s. They declared a no first-use policy. This means they promise never to use nukes unless someone else uses them on India first. The eighth country is perhaps the most unique story of all. It is South Africa. By the 1970s, the South African government was completely alone. The rest of the world hated their racism and refused to help them. They looked at their borders and saw enemies everywhere. Countries right next door like Angola were falling under communist control. They decided that they needed the ultimate insurance policy. They had massive uranium reserves and they used them. In 1979, an American satellite detected a mysterious double flash of light in the Indian Ocean near islands controlled by South Africa. It is widely believed this was a joint nuclear test with Israel. By the 1980s, South Africa had built 6 fully functional nuclear bombs, but then the world changed. The Soviet Union collapsed. The threat of communism faded. The apartheid government knew their time was ending. They were terrified of handing over nuclear weapons to the new incoming government led by Nelson Mandela. So they did something no other nation has ever done. They voluntarily dismantled all their weapons. They destroyed the blueprints and melted down the uranium. So South Africa is the only country to build its own nukes and then give them up entirely. The 9th country was Pakistan. After losing a war to India in 1971, the Pakistani Prime Minister made a famous vow. He said that even if the people have to eat grass, they will get a nuclear bomb of their own. They could not let India dominate them. The hero of their program was a man named Abdul Qadir Khan. He was a metallurgist working in the Netherlands at a facility that enriched uranium. He used his clearance to steal top-secret blueprints for centrifuges. He memorized designs and copied documents and brought them back to Pakistan. This gave them a massive head start. They also received help from China, who wanted to keep India in check. The United States knew what Pakistan was doing. However, the US needed Pakistan's help to fight the Soviets in Afghanistan, so the Americans turned a blind eye. In 1998, just weeks after India conducted a series of tests, Pakistan responded. They detonated 5 bombs in the mountains. The crowd in Pakistan went wild. They had leveled the playing field. Unlike India, Pakistan has a first-use policy. They reserve the right to launch nuclear missiles if they feel they are about to be defeated in a conventional war. This brings us to the 10th and final country on the list, and that is North Korea. North Korea wanted nukes for the same reason everyone else did. They wanted regime survival. The Kim family believed that without the bomb, the United States would eventually invade them. They started with Soviet help for energy, but eventually went rogue. They signed treaties promising not to build weapons and then cheated on them. They used the designs they bought from Pakistan. In 2006, North Korea conducted its first underground nuclear test. It was a small explosion, and some experts think it was a partial failure, but they kept trying. In 2009 and 2013, they tested bigger bombs. By 2017, they detonated a thermonuclear hydrogen bomb. Today, they have intercontinental missiles that can theoretically reach United States. They are the only country to withdraw from the Non-Proliferation Treaty and successfully build a weapon. These are the 10 nations that built the bomb. But the story is bigger than just them. There are other countries that host nuclear weapons. During the Cold War, the US and the Soviets placed missiles all over the world like chess pieces. Today, American nukes are still stationed in Belgium, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, and Turkey. Russia has recently moved tactical nuclear weapons back into Belarus. The threat is not just from the countries that make them, but also from the countries that hold them. We also have to look at the countries that tried and failed. You might be surprised to know how many nations were close. Argentina and Brazil had military programs that they abandoned. Sweden and Switzerland considered it, but the most volatile region has always been the Middle East. Iraq had a nuclear program under Saddam Hussein. In 1981, Israel launched a daring air raid called Operation Opera. They bombed the Iraqi reactor and destroyed it. In 2007, Israel did it again. They bombed a secret facility in Syria that was being built with North Korean help. The current worry is Iran. Iran has been enriching uranium for years. Israel and the West have tried to sabotage and slow them down. There is another country that's often overlooked. Japan is what experts call a threshold state. Japan has advanced rocket technology and huge stockpiles of plutonium from their energy reactors. Experts believe Japan could build a nuclear weapon in a matter of months if they wanted to. Currently, their pacifist constitution prevents it, but if the geopolitical situation in Asia changes, Japan is ready to flip the switch. Finally, we cannot forget the silent threat that hides in the ocean. The treaties and the inspections focus on land, but the true power of nuclear nations lies in the deep. The US and Russia, and the UK and France and China and India all operate nuclear-armed submarines. These vessels can stay submerged submerged for months. They are impossible to track. They ensure that even if a country is wiped off the map, their submarines can launch a retaliatory strike from anywhere in the world. This is the concept of mutually assured destruction. It is a terrifying logic that has kept the peace for 80 years. The science that started in a laboratory in Germany has now spread to every corner of the map. We have watched the club grow from just one member to 10. The technology is old and the blueprints are out there. The only thing stopping the next country is politics and not science. The most terrifying question now is that who will be the number 11?